Thank you for showing up today. I want to talk to you about how to overcome your fear of speaking. Very simply, how to overcome your fear of speaking is don't be scared. Don't be scared. When you're not scared, you're always going to be prepared. You're going to have a safety net, and you're going to have a positive attitude towards your audience. Now,
that plate on top
all
of
our lives, for the rest of our lives, we're always going to have a fear of speaking. But to understand why we have this fear of speaking, there are three reasons why we have that fear of speaking. That fear of speaking is because, one, we are afraid of making mistakes. Then we have the fear of looking foolish or looking stupid. And then also, we have the fear of being humiliated. Now, if you take all these fears and you take them fears and decide that you're going to make them to your advantage by always being prepared, always having a safety net, and always looking at your audience in a positive way. Now, how do you be prepared? Stephen Lucas in The Art of Speaking says to us, and also Ron Curtis in the tricks to being good grades is know your audience. Today I chose this speech because as my audience, a lot of people fear speaking. Know your material. How do we get to know our material? By studying and practicing. And we practice by looking in the mirror and rehearsing our speech. Last is to know your conditions. What do I mean by conditions? Your environment around you. Show up earlier, find out what kind of mics you have, find out what type of microphones they have, find out what type of interferences will occur, like someone walking in the door and so forth. So how will the safety net help you? Well, first of all, a safety net is an outline, and the outline is either on a piece of paper or on note cards. Okay? Now, with that, what that will do is cause you to be prepared if you go blank in your speech. It also reduces the anxieties that you might have during your speech. It also reduces your fear of your audience. Now, once you reduce the fear of your audience, then you can go towards looking at your audience in a positive way or in a positive attitude. Now, how do we look at our audience in a positive attitude? Because we need to know three things. One, your audience is there to hear what you have to say. Your audience most likely is in your corner. And then last but not least, your audience wants you to do well. So my last secret to the fear, overcoming your fear, is this. If you visualize your audience as not being important, how do we do this? We visualize our audience by not being important. It's an old time age. They say, think of your audience as being naked. That's one way. Then they say, visualize your audience as being in clown suits. That's another way. Now, the way I prefer is to make people laugh. And that's why I say to you, in overcoming your fear, is don't be scared. Now, if this was a traditional class, that's what my classmates would most likely remember me as saying. Don't be scared.
Okay. Cut.
No.
Oh.
So, when we realize that we shouldn't be scared, then my last and final note for you is this, that in every speech, there is a beginning and there's an end. And understanding that there's a beginning and an end, whether the speech is good or bad, it will soon be over. So in the end, like I said, don't be scared. Just do it.